Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Tomorrow's Talent Series Q&A. My name is Jana Toomey, and I'm an assistant director within Michigan Tech Center for Educational Outreach. Tomorrow's Talent Series is all about showcasing in-demand careers through virtual job shadowing videos, Q&As, and curriculum resources. Each month, we're going to be releasing more videos featuring different in-demand careers in fields such as business and health sciences, environmental sciences, so make sure you stay tuned throughout the year with us. Today, we have a very special guest, Scott Ellis, who is with Cloverland Electric Cooperative. How are you doing, Scott?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Doing well, thank you. So Scott, you're a hydroelectric plant manager, and today we are going to be learning a little bit more about your career in manufacturing. So for those of you joining us who haven't seen the full video yet, be sure to stop by the Tomorrow's Talent Series website, check out that video to learn some more, but we're going to be going a little bit more in depth today with what it means to be in hydroelectric plant maintenance. So with that, we're going to get started with some Q&As. So if anybody out there watching today has a question, just feel free to submit it using that Q&A feature below on the screen. So Scott, can you tell me a little bit about Cloverland?
Certainly, yeah. Cloverland, as a co-op, we have 43,000 meters with about 4,000 miles of line that go through about 5 rural counties throughout our territory. For the hydro plant, we generate roughly between 40 to 50% of the co-op's power. That's between our powerhouse and also the powerhouse over at the Corps of Engineers. We also have about 33,000 members that we supply power to. So our area is very broad. Just to be rough, it's about half of the eastern, it's half the UP. So we go all the way from Drummond Island, the furthest point east, to the Garden Peninsula, which would be the furthest point west, and diagonally up towards Whitefish Point. So a very big area with lots of trees and rural area in it.
Oh. And so as the plant manager, what is your role?
Yeah, my role, it's pretty diverse. I have 12 guys in the shop. Those are my repairmen, my welders, electricians, and machinists, foremen, and then I also have 6 controllers that I watch over too. So my job varies in different degrees each day. So it could be working on turbines with the guys, or diesel generators at our diesel plants, or doing some communications with our control center too.
And can you tell us a little bit about your path into your current position?
Certainly. I got hired in as an entry-level position, which is called a repairman's helper. That is the entry-level, bottom-of-the-barrel job. You're down in the hole, learning how things work and working your way up through the ladder, we'll say, at the plant here. You put roughly about 2 years in as a repairman helper, and then you become a repairman. Once you become a repairman, you move into some lead roles for training and also working with the other groups within the plant here. Did that for a few years. Then I became the machinist. I did that for a few more years, and the opportunity for this position opened up. I applied and I got the position. I've been in this position for 3 years now, and I have a total of 14 years total for the co-op.
That's so exciting that you've been able to see all of these different positions and work your way through them. That knowledge of the different responsibilities must be so helpful.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult to have a position like this without knowing the nuts and bolts of the operation. So it's definitely, the time you put in on the front side definitely pays off in the end, just for the knowledge. And with this job, every day you're learning something different. So you're never going to figure this whole place out.
So you did mention a couple other positions besides the repairman, electrician, welder, machinist. Can you describe a little bit about the education or training or career paths of those different positions, maybe starting with the electrician?
Yeah, my electrician, he is young. He's in his early 30s, but he's a master electrician. He his training was under another master, but everything was taught through the trade itself. He didn't have any formal schooling. It was all on-site training, um, and he worked hard to get his journeyman's, and then he wrote on to get his master's license. So he's a master's electrician, and he's very diversified. He can work on the high voltage stuff with our generators, and then 5 minutes later, he can work on the low voltage stuff down to computer boards. So he's a very diversified electrician, which we need right now.
How about for the welder and the machinist?
Yeah, our welder, again, he was self-taught in the real world. He started out with various jobs, fabricating and welding, different positions in different companies. He did a lot of, he also owns a farm, which entails a lot of fabricating work there. So throughout his jobs and different careers, he's became a very well-rounded fabricator and welder.
So you mentioned that you've been with Cloverland for many years now. What aspects of this field made you first want to pursue a career in it?
Well, that's a good question because, to be honest, I have a degree in industrial technology with a minor in industrial maintenance. Graduated from Northern Michigan University. With that degree, it's a very open degree, broad. I got done with school and wasn't really sure what direction I wanted to go. Sort of traveled around the area doing some various jobs, and the helper position presented itself. And to be honest, I grew up in this town and never knew there was jobs like this that were here. But I looked at the qualifications for the job and I was like, well, that's sort of exactly what I went to school for. So I applied and now I'm sitting here. So I guess to make a long story short is you just never know where your career or your degree could take you.
That's a really important message. And what are some of your favorite parts of your job personally that keep you here?
Favorite parts of the job. Um, I think the biggest thing is diversification. I mean, every day is something different. It's not black and white. It changes hourly what goes on in a day. So you have to be quite organized to be able to make adjustments on the fly. So get to deal with different things, different issues. And I'm never looking for something to do because there's lots to be done.
So to learn a little bit more about working at a hydroelectric plant, can you tell us a little bit about how much energy does the hydro generate, and does that fluctuate throughout the year with the different seasons?
Yeah, actually, it fluctuates hourly, minutely. It just depends on what we're getting for weather. If we have a very calm day, stable weather, it's fairly flat for the output. But this time of year, we have a lot of winds and different pressures coming through the systems. And we see the effect of that on Lake Superior. We have, it's a big lake and it's not an ocean, but it does tide. So we can watch on our graphs and stuff, the movement of the water over the lake, and that does affect our output. Currently, we're averaging around 27 megawatts right now, which has been pretty close month to month. But this time of year, it does go up and down due to Mother Nature's winds and pressure changes.
So how many cubic feet per second of water is maybe on average or currently going through the plant?
Yeah, just on average, we'd say, I think I just looked at it, we're running around 26,500 cubic feet per second.
Wow. So I know for me, that's a really hard visual to grasp. Someone once explained it to me you can consider a cubic foot per second like a basketball per second. So to have 26,000 basketballs per second flowing over the plant, wow, that is a lot of water.
It is. In our plant's long, the plant's a quarter mile long across the face. So it's a lot of water coming through that at one time.
And this plant was constructed over 100 years ago, is that correct?
That is correct. It was constructed in 1902.
Wow. So does that pose any unique challenges that maybe a newer facility doesn't have to face? Are there any advantages to having this older facility?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends who you ask. I mean, if you ask a new engineer, there's probably, it's old. But the thing is, it was built in 1902 and it's still operable today. So in my eyes, that's an engineering feat in itself. I mean, the turbines themselves are still original. Granted, the bearings and stuff have been updated in some of them, but the turbines are still original. So in my eyes, it's good. It works. It's solid. It's robust, but it works. So my deal is it's simple, stupid. It's a simple way it works. Why try to make it more in depth and probably break down more?
What do you think what are some of the new technologies that a new plant would have that maybe this one doesn't, though, that somebody who maybe is going into this field would see?
Yeah, some of the newer stuff, you're going to probably see different runner designs on the turbines themselves. More electronics for the excitation in governors, but that being said, we're in an upgrade right now, so we are upgrading our units to be governed and also our exciters. So we do have new HMIs, touchscreens and stuff on our cabinets, which we didn't have in the past. So we are updating the plant to bring it up into a more modern era than it was previously.
What do you feel are some of the pieces of equipment that need maintenance most often?
It'd be the turbines. Yeah. So if you envision Lake Superior as a whole, and while the water is coming to the east, we have the Sioux Locks, Canadian Locks, and the Rapids, and our canal. So everything flows down our canal and they end up in our turbines. So our crew has to remove the debris and then make the repairs of whatever breaks from the debris.
So I mean, it seems like you're doing different things every day. You mentioned that in the video, you're constantly troubleshooting. What are some of the other challenging aspects of your job, or what are some of the other problems that you're solving?
For myself, a lot of it goes to if something breaks, finding vendors or suppliers that can build it. A lot, it's old. We have the old patterns and stuff, but there's people that don't understand the process of using them to build the new components like they used to. So the biggest thing that would be a challenge is just finding stuff and finding vendors. We have a big long list of people we deal with, but then it boils into lead times because they're also busy. So that would be one challenge. And the other challenge is there's just a lot of different things that happen every day. So you could think you're going to do this today and you walk upstairs 5 minutes later and it's completely changed because the weather changed or we have to run diesels for peak shaving. So it's just a revolving wheel.
From the video, it seems that your crew members are often working together. You mentioned how diverse their skill sets are. So I can imagine that adaptability is one of the key characteristics that you look for in a team member. What are some of the other characteristics that you would look for?
Yeah, to be honest, every time I hire for a position, I have a different need for that position. So I might need someone that has more of a mindset in the construction or rigging aspect of that, or I might need someone that has more of a mechanical in-depth operation of, say, diesel engines. So I guess it depends where we're at with our crews of when we do the hire, but a person that has a very diversified background of knowledge is quite helpful. So if you can work on build a garage and then go home and do a plumbing project and then maybe work on a snowmobile motor, I mean, it's always a help because you don't know what you're going to do each day.
So we actually have some viewers asking some questions. They want to know, are there different shifts of people at the hydro, or how does it stay running 24/7?
Right. We have a control center. They operate our plant in different spots. And then also our main focus is our shop. Our hours are 7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. So if anything happens when we're not there, they call me and then we'll call a crew in to assess the situation and take it from there.
Got it. Hopefully that doesn't happen too often.
No, it does though.
So what are some other groups or agencies that you work with to make sure that the plant is operating safely and is not harmful to the environment?
Yeah, okay. Harmful to the environment. It's a very eco-friendly plant. You can walk out on our tail race out from my office here and look down onto the turbine, and there's fish that are swimming on top of the turbine. They're not getting sucked in and chewed up because fish are very lazy. So if they can sit there and just tread water and let the food come to them, that's what they'll do. So for that matter, the fish don't get sucked up at all. So they just sit there and eat and swim up the canal and do their thing. And then for the discharge, it's just water going through the plant and it goes into the St. Mary's River and is discharged down into the Huron, Michigan basin. So.
Great. In the video, you briefly mentioned that climate is a challenge. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, climate. Well, you're from Houghton, so when it's winter, it's winter. The same thing here. So I have a crew that is doing overhauls all winter. So they'll be down in the turbine. We have tarps and heaters that go over top to keep that area warm so they're able to work. But if we get debris that comes down the canal or ice, you're in the elements working to fix the problem. It could be from chipping ice to going down to repair a turbine that's ice covered. So it's dangerous in that aspect of work.
How has your job changed, either due to the technology or the consumers, since you first started?
Well, that's an interesting question because when I first started, there was a total of 4 computers in the plant with 4 monitors. So very, very low technology to that point. Now we have a lot of monitors, we have a lot of computers. My whole staff all have iPads that we communicate with Microsoft Teams and the Microsoft programs within Microsoft. So went from 4 computers to TVs and cameras and computers all over, which has helped out drastically.
And where do you think the future of this field is heading?
The future of hydro, for our facility, it's gonna grow. It's gonna stay where it's at. Our plant is what it is. It's a quarter-mile long. We have 74 units, and that's what we have. But it's not going to go away. So all we can do is improve upon what we have and go forward from there.
Do you have any advice for students who may be interested in going into this field?
Advice, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is just putting your boots to the ground and going to learn and ask questions and just get as much background of life skills as you can. I mean, you can go to college. College is great and you can learn a lot, but at the same time, when you're done with college, it doesn't hurt to go out and find a job for someone you're going to learn some skills from.
Great. Is there anything else that you would like students to know about this field? Are there any misconceptions about hydroelectricity that you'd like to address?
Um, the one thing with hydro is it's a very big thing, but if you don't really look directly into hydro, you don't really know too much about it. So I would do my research and see what direction you'd like to go within the hydro world, because it's very broad. I mean, it takes a pile of engineers, but then also it takes the workers to do the work in the plant. Our plant's a lot different than the newer plants because they're a lot bigger and everything's a lot more precise. Ours is old and it's just a different frame of work, but it's still good. And it's a very broad field. It goes from electrical to what we're doing here and everything in between. So, and they're all over the world. So.
All right. Well, that was my last question. Um, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and giving us a deeper understanding of what your career is like. So thank you to everyone else who tuned in. Like I mentioned earlier, we will be featuring more careers throughout the year in a whole wide variety of fields. Also, thank you to our Tomorrow's Talent Series partners, MySTEM, Michigan Works, CTE, Gogebic College, and Bay College. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too.